Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Thank you for being here today. This is the intro to the 30-day Solar Magic Challenge. It's made possible by everyone at the Horizon Lodge here in Seattle. We are a great group of people. If you have a chance post-COVID to visit, we're located in Seattle, easy access, easy parking. Be sure to follow up. There's information at the end of this intro to give you directions on how to do that. We'll be posting updates for the challenge throughout the duration. So preferably, my preference is to be posting an update every day. So you can visit Patreon and look for a new post every day at noon Pacific time. I think I'm pretty sure there are going to be situations where we'll post more than once a day. And I think there's a way for us to give you an alert if some new information has been posted. So just keep an eye out for those to come. And it's kind of exciting. So both the 30-day challenge and Patreon are completely new to us. So this is the first time doing a challenge, and it's our first time using Patreon. So we're still trying to figure it all out. Let us know how the platform is working for you and just how the whole process is working for you. And then if you do have ideas on how to make it better, please don't hesitate to just shout them out. And we'll try to incorporate what we can as we go, because we're going to have 30 days. So we have 30 days to just keep making it better and better and better. So we just have to hear from you to make that happen. So basically the idea for this challenge, of course, we are excited to share the ritual and to have an opportunity as a group to be performing it daily and kind of watching and seeing how that unfolds. But really, like, this is our chance to kind of create this great space for inspiring people to do ritual, to do meditation, to explore magic, and in this case, solar magic. So that's kind of our overreaching goal with this effort. It's just kind of create that space. And really, even though it's a virtual, trying to give us an opportunity to kind of have that, that community, that being part of a group vibe. So the more that you visit and contribute and participate, I think just the better it's going to be for everybody. It's kind of interesting. Patreon's a little bit different than like Facebook Live or, some of the other platforms like Zoom, for instance. I feel like this is going to be a really great solution for us as far as a base camp for our group goes. So I'm going to keep a pulse on that, kind of see how that goes. And I'm actually really excited. So stay engaged and let me know how you're feeling about it. We do have a couple of quirks. Full transparency, the reason we're pre-recording these updates right now, and for instance this intro, is we're just trying to work through how to be able to go live on Patreon, and we're not quite there yet, but we still wanted to start the challenge. So as time goes on, I think we're going to get there. So towards the end of the challenge, hopefully we'll have some opportunities to do some live interactions, so that should be great. As a reminder, I think we had it posted on all of the ads that we put out. The official first day of the challenge is tomorrow. So Sunday is just the intro. We're going to kind of go over what is the practice that we'll be doing each day. What are some things you'll want to gather to get ready. But tomorrow is the first official day. And just as a heads up, so ideally we will start at sunrise tomorrow. We are going to keep kind of the first week of the challenge super simple. I think really the focus is going to be just trying to understand the practice itself and kind of putting some consistency in place for each of us. I'm actually really excited and happy to be part of this particular challenge, just because the practice that we are going to focus on, it has changed my life personally so much, just in the 5 years that I've been doing it. And, in the past 3 years, for instance, it has opened it just has opened doors that I didn't even know existed. So I'm excited to share it with you. There's so much more to explore as well, like as far as its history, and some of the meanings and symbolism around it, interpretations by other practitioners. So I'm excited to share this with you as we go too. 30 days is a long time for some people. And it's especially daunting if we're like starting something new. So it's an awesome commitment. And we do know that things can come up in one way or another that might make you want to stop the challenge at some point. And it's probably best, I think it's best to just go ahead and just acknowledge that up front, that that's actually the norm. Like that's most likely to happen, that you're going to hit a wall sometime in the next 30 days. So I just wanted to put it out there before we even start, that there is this great piece of advice that I received when I first was introduced to this practice. And that piece of advice was, if it comes up for you, so if one of those challenges comes up and you're thinking of stopping the practice, the advice was, keep doing the practice anyway. It doesn't matter. You don't have to worry if maybe you didn't do it exactly the right time you thought you needed to do it, or maybe you didn't perform it exactly the way you imagined you would perform it. You don't have to worry about those things. The most important thing, the one thing that you have to do, is remember to do it. And I think what you'll find is, once you remember to do it and you keep going, interesting things will begin to happen and you'll be glad that you did. So let's go ahead. I think I'm sharing my screen with you right now. So you should be seeing a picture of, it should say Solar Magick, connect with your source. It's like just a picture. I'm hoping you're seeing that right now. I am. I'm going to go ahead and walk through the challenge, just what it is we're going to be doing, how to do it, and then we'll sign off and everybody can get ready for day one tomorrow. So the challenge. Just have 3 basic essentials to the challenge. These are kind of your tools for success. Number 1, you're going to want to have tools for timekeeping and record keeping. So basically a way to find out your practice times and a way to remind you of when to practice. I happen to use my cell phone for that. I have recurring alarms that I put into my phone, and it's awesome because you can hit snooze if you're in a meeting, on a call, in the middle of something, but you still have that reminder in the back of your mind. If you maybe something's happening, like maybe it's the full moon, or maybe it's going to be awesome weather, great sunrise. If you want to, set a specific time, you can do that as well. Other tools that you might want to use are maybe some prayer apps. Might be better for you, just depending on who you are and how you work. You can download those onto your phone. And then also, there are great websites that you can access to find out sunrise, sunset, solar noon, if that's your preference. There's just a ton of tools out there. I've included a few links in this intro, and you have access to this as well. It should be a PDF attached here, so you can download that to your computer or to your phone. Anyway, you'll just want to have tools for timekeeping and then also for record keeping. So I recommend that you keep a record of your practice. We're going to be doing it for 30 days. I can imagine that some really interesting things might happen during practice over 30 days. And you really won't have a way to kind of connect the dots, if you will, until you look back on them, right? So you can have 30 days of notes, and you might find as you're reading through them, maybe there is there's information in there that you wouldn't have noticed if you'd only looked at one day. But since you're looking at all 30, you can start to see some patterns. I basically just looked, little notebook. I have a ton of these. They're super nice because they're durable, and I happen to like the paper too. But just whatever you want to use. Some people use their phone. They just use like the notepad on their phone to keep their records. Everybody has their own way of doing it. The point is, do it. Keep a record of your practice. Number 2, devise some workarounds for interruptions, for schedule conflicts, for things that you know that might come up for you in the next 30 days that might derail you. Go ahead and plan your workarounds now. I just think that just takes the stress out of it. Just makes it so much easier. And then number 3, I put this one up here as an essential. I really believe it's going to happen naturally. I'm actually I have a hard time memorizing large bodies of text. So like memorizing lines for a play, etc. It's super hard for me. That being said, if I have 30 days to consistently practice it, it eventually comes. So working to eventually memorize the practice, I think is going to be super helpful for you, and you're going to be super happy that you did it. So what is this practice, this solar magic that we're going to experience over the next 30 days? The practice that we are going to focus on is called Liber Resh, and I'm fairly certain that a number of you are very familiar with it, and there are probably a few of you that have never heard of it before. I was basically introduced to this not even 5 years ago, and I have only skimmed the surface of this practice, but it's just as simple as it is. It can be just super powerful. So this is a great one, I think, for us to start with for our first 30-day challenge. Again, the ritual itself is super simple. The challenge is remembering to do it consistently. We'll just kind of go through it. So it's a set of 4 adorations to the sun, performed at dawn, noon, sunset, and midnight. Really your best time within the 4 quarters of the day. A lot of people use 6 a.m., noon, 6 p.m., and midnight. That seems to work great for a lot of folks here in the Seattle area. During each adoration, as we call them, so during each one, the general idea, and now there are different interpretations around this. I like to put it out there, especially for newcomers, that the general idea is to focus our conscious mind on the center of the universe. And I like to lead with that simply because both of those are familiar to us. So we're all fairly familiar with the concept of what is the center of the solar system. I think I said universe before, but the solar system. And then hopefully we're fairly aware of our conscious mind. So during each one of these adorations, as we're doing this practice each day, we are connecting our conscious mind to the center of the solar system. Now, alternatively, and this is, again, open to interpretation. So you, and especially as the 30 days progresses, you might begin to have an affinity one way or another. I tend to direct my focus, if you will, on or to the Egyptian solar deities, so Ra, Hathor, Tum, and Khafra. Still, the idea, regardless of which way you find yourself working, the idea is really to commit to doing the practice consistently for the full 30 days. I think that it's really understood that through the consistent practice, through doing the work, your awareness and your observation then has an opportunity to expand. So you're able to kind of notice things that maybe you wouldn't notice ordinarily. So again, focus is on consistently doing the practice. Here are the helpful links. Again, you can download this presentation so that you have these at the ready for you. And then here's just the overview of the practice. So again, there are 4 adorations, so 4 times a day. In the morning, we are focusing on the sunrise. We are facing the east. For those of us who work with the Egyptian gods and goddesses, we are directing our focus to Ra. At noon or midday or solar noon, again, you're choosing a time that aligns for you so that you can really begin to establish that consistency. It's within the 4 quarters and evenly spaced, of course, over your day. At noon, the focus is south. Again, Hathor is the goddess for that time. And then as we move on over the 30 days, I'll introduce some other aspects as well to each of these quarters, which, depending on you and how you work and how things are beginning to align for you, they may make even more sense. So we'll start to add to that as well. In the evening, again, it is the time of the sunset. We are facing east, and we're working with Tum or directing to Tum if that is something that you would like to do. And then at midnight, midnight happens to be, for me personally, my favorite time of the day and my favorite part of the practice. We are greeting the sun facing north, and for those of you who prefer to work with the gods and the goddesses, directing our energy, our communication, if you will, with Kefra, one of my favorites. I was thinking about maybe reading through each of these today, and then I kind of took a step back and I just thought I think it'll be best if, since you have the words right here, this is what you're going to be saying. It's very simple. If you read it for yourself, I think that is probably the best way to go, simply because if I read it, I find that somebody, if they hear me, then they think that that's the way it has to be read, or that's the way it's supposed to be done. And I am in no way an expert on what is best for you. So I think it's important for you to read the words and have them be your own interpretation and your own way of doing it. So I'm not going to read through each one of these, but I just wanted you to kind of be aware. So that this is technically, this is what we're doing at each quarter. So morning, noon or midday, evening, sunset, midnight, the dark of night. And this is all it is. It's super simple. Like, I cannot emphasize how simple, seemingly simple, it is simple. It is. And then just focusing on remembering. After each one of these, at the end, so when you're done greeting the sun at dawn, you will, traditionally we give the sign of silence, just the sign of silence. And there is another adoration that some people do perform that comes after this. And I thought I would introduce that aspect week 2, because I think for the focus, because this is an intro to experiencing this practice and experiencing Solar Magick, let's focus on, for week 1, let's focus on the 4 times of day and the 4 adorations, and kind of just getting those down so that they're solid and consistent. So I went ahead and pulled up my times for tomorrow. So it's going to be an early morning for me tomorrow. And in the helpful links that I provided, there's a link in there for the website that provides you just put in your location, and it'll provide you your sunrise, solar noon, and sunset times, if that's helpful. So I will see you tomorrow for day 1 of the challenge. I do just want to give a shout out of thanks to you again for being here today. And then also a huge thanks to everyone at Horizon Lodge for the opportunity to do this. This is so awesome. If you want to learn more about our lodge and what we do, feel free to reach out. Here's the link right here. My name's Cindy. I don't know if I mentioned that in the beginning. You can reach me via reshchallenge@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you right away. If you just want to send me a quick note if you have a question or something that maybe I didn't cover that you need more detail on, just feel free to reach out. Love is the law, and love under will. Again, thank you, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow and hearing how your first day of the challenge is going. See you then.